All right, welcome. We're going to get started. We're happy you're here with us today. I'm going to go over a couple Zoom instructions before we get started here. Your audio and video are turned off. You may use the Q&A feature throughout the presentation to ask us questions. You can also use the chat to engage with us. Just make sure that the chat is on panelists and all attendees so that everyone can see your responses. We'll have a live transcription. If you'd like to turn this off, you can select the hide subtitle on the live transcript button. We will also have a moderator who is helping to answer questions and share links throughout the presentation. Today we'll be talking about ways to engage with on campus while a student and the career resources available to you. I'm Samantha Anderson. I use she, her pronouns. I'm a career counselor in the CSE Career Center. My colleagues will now introduce themselves.
Hi, my name is Adam Pagel. I'm the Director of International Programs for the college, and I'm happy to be here today.
Hi, everyone. My name is Sam Franco. I use she, her pronouns, and I am the Assistant Director of WISE, and today I will be your moderator, and I'm very excited to welcome you all to the college.
Now that you know who we are, we'd like to take a moment to have you introduce yourselves through the chat. So if you're comfortable, please share your pronouns, where you're from, and your name.
Hopefully we have some people from all over. But yeah, if you have a chance to put in your name and where you are, logging in. Oh, Houston, Texas.
Yeah, welcome. From Duluth. Chaska, Minnesota, Plymouth, Minneapolis, welcome. Tennessee, Johnson City, wow. St. Louis Park, St. Paul, a lot of Minnesota people today, but we do got a mix of out-of-state students as well. Minneapolis, welcome. I always like to see who is joining in from the farthest for this point. Oh, from Hudson, Wisconsin. Well, welcome, everyone.
Great. So it is important for students to think about courses and majors when beginning college, but we'd also like you to start thinking about how you want to get involved on campus and where you'd like to go after you finish your undergraduate degree. So there's lots of different ways for students to start getting connected with CSE and learn about all the different engagement opportunities. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, so please check us out on social media. There will also be a weekly student newsletter that's sent only to current CSE undergraduate students every Sunday throughout the academic year. So start checking your email. You'll get the first newsletter the weekend right before school starts. It covers things like advising, course deadlines, study abroad, campus events, companies coming to campus, and more. Parents can check out that online at the URL in the chat. It's also there on the slide, thestudentnews.csc.umn.edu. We know that there's a significant amount of learning that happens outside of the classroom. It's a great way to meet new friends from all over, develop skills employers are looking for, gain other experiences to complement your academics. Sometimes you might get paid and even have fun. Student engagement is more than just being involved in activities and experiences. It's really investing time and energy into intentionally learning about and reflecting on those experiences. Because with these experiences, you'll be developing skills that are beneficial to future employers, graduate schools, and other paths your future may lead you down. This fall, student engagement might look a little different than it has in the past. Many of the options we'll be talking about today might be hybrid, so meaning that they're both in person and in virtual formats. However, everything that we talk about today will still be happening and things that you can take a part of. So our students head into many different types of careers after graduation. You can see on the slide that we have alumni working across the country in different roles from different majors. Many of our graduates become engineers and scientists, but some enter fields like consulting, research, teaching, medicine, and technical sales. This photo highlights a chemist, a business owner, a software engineer, and a mechanical design engineer. As a Career Center, we strive to help students explore the resources to develop skills and determine how they like to use their college degree in a future career. The opportunities offered outside the classroom can help you develop those transferable skills that employers seek, like communication, leadership, teamwork, organization, time management, and cultural awareness. In this presentation, we're going to highlight some of the ways we can help students throughout their collegiate career. So can anyone guess which large stadium in Minnesota this is a picture of? This is the foundation right before it was built, or as it was being built. It's right down the road from campus. No guesses? We had someone guess it right. Yep, US Bank Stadium. There you go. Good job. So when you're on campus, you can always go down to US Bank Stadium if you're interested in checking it out, if you haven't already. But the reason we have this picture of the foundation is that although you'll be starting college in the fall, that's not the starting point of preparing for your future. You've already started that. You've laid the foundation in high school by doing all the experiences that you have already, your background, your interests, your skills, your values. They're a big part of who you are and who you'll become. So we're going to start from that foundation and take a moment right now to think about the high school experiences that you had. So on the next slide here, we have some questions that we want you to reflect on. What were you involved in high school, and how did those activities, that second part, what skills did you gain from those activities? So if you could put those in the chat, make sure it's on all panelists and attendees so that everyone can see your response.
And while we wait for that, I'd love to hear from my fellow hosts here what they were involved with in high school. So I was a theater kid. I did a lot of science clubs, and then was also like in drama and theater as a high school student, and then choir. I was also a choir kid.
Yeah, and then I was on our varsity high school soccer team, and then I was also involved with anything related to band. So I was in marching band, jazz band, drumline, and then I continued with band. I went to the University of Minnesota, and I was in the University of Minnesota marching band.
I was in our high school musical my junior year of high school, and I was really involved in student council and was an officer during my senior year for the student body.
Looks like one of our students is involved in band and golf, which is really cool. Any other activities that people would like to share before we move on?
Anyone
Soccer, another soccer student.
Anyone in robotics clubs or
Student government, oh, orchestra and swimming. Nice. Lots of music. Volunteering in orchestra.
Great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing, everybody. This is our second visual metaphor of the presentation so far, and this is an assembly line. And your college experience with us won't be an assembly line. We're not going to tell you what to do every day. You don't come in and go out in one orderly fashion. You're going to make decisions. You're going to change your mind. You're going to try different things. I think college can look a little sometimes like an assembly line because we give you that 4-year plan, right? And we say, here are the classes you need to pass to get this degree, and this is the order you take them in, and you can't take this one until you've taken that one. And that's all true. You have to take your classes and you have to pass them. But that's only one portion of college, right? What we're talking about today is everything else that's going to round your experience out so that at the end of this process, not only do you have a major and your degree completed, but we want you to be creative, adaptable, enthusiastic young professionals. I mean, we say it all the time, but your major is not your job. And we don't know what the future is going to be 20 years from now when you are kind of at the peak of your career. When I was in college, Amazon.com was they just sold books. It was like a library that you paid money for. And now they're one of the biggest countries. Actually, they're bringing my groceries tonight. So we don't know exactly what the future is going to bring. We have some ideas, of course, and there are people thinking about the future: energy, transportation, global warming, climate change. These are all going to be topics, but we don't exactly know what the future is going to be like. So we want you to use your experiences outside of the traditional classroom to gain those skill sets and experiences that are going to make your career enjoyable and interesting. This list can be a little intimidating, I think. This is areas of engagement, and it's pretty long, but it's not a checklist. No one listening today is going to do all of these things. And some of you are going to do things we haven't thought of yet, which is fine. And so you might create a student group, you might create an initiative, you might raise money for something, we don't know. But these are some of the areas we're going to touch on today: student employment, learning abroad, research, internships and co-ops, and how those fit into your studies, and as it notes, and more. We have a video here, and I hope it plays.
What I like the most about CSE is the fact that you can actually, outside the classroom, you can grow as much as inside the classroom. Being able to join the Society of Hispanic Professional Engineers or joining civil engineering student groups and relating to and meeting people that are gonna eventually fill up the civil engineering workplace with me. The one that I've been a part of is Formula SAE, and you make a miniature Formula One car. You spend the entire year redesigning the one from the year before, and then at the end of the year you go to Michigan and then you race it with other teams from around the world.
The Society of Women Engineers is a group on campus. We have about 350 active members. Our goal is really to promote women's studies in science and engineering, and we do that through different seminars and by partnering with other student groups on campus.
The one that I am most involved in is called NSBE, which stands for National Society of Black Engineers, and it's just a outreach community of minority engineers on campus. We go to events, do professional development.
In chemistry, we have the American Chemical Society student chapter. There's also a local, like Minneapolis American Chemical Society chapter where you can meet other industry professionals or people who you might end up interviewing with when you graduate.
Solar Vehicle Project offers a very unique opportunity for students where we design and build everything from scratch, including our own motors. So it's a very good engineering design challenge, and then also we get to work with alternative energy as well.
I'm a big proponent of building in parts of your schedule that are specifically designed to just kind of get you away from studies and get you active and with friends. For me, intramural sports is the way I do that. I've been involved in volleyball teams. I'm playing doubles tennis this semester with my roommate.
I really like marching band because I think it's a really good counterweight to my studies. A third of the marching band is made up of CSE students, so it's a great place to meet other people in your major who are farther along in it and can give you help and guidance.
It's nice to see all that footage of kind of pre-pandemic campus. So, and that's what we're moving back towards. So it's very exciting. The video and the students talked about student organizations. There are many, many student organizations outside of our college that are campus-wide, places like La Raza, Queer Student Cultural Center, Black Student Union. And then there's a subset of student organizations that are dedicated to the College of Science and Engineering. Some of them have been around for 100 years. Others were created a year or two ago by students who had an interest and got together and started working on a project. And so some of these are linked to specific professions or careers or majors. So, Society of Chemical Engineers, for example. Some of them are, affinity groups like Society of Asian Scientists and Engineers, NSBE was mentioned. Some of them are project-based. So Solar Car, builds and tests their car. Previous years, they've shipped it to Australia and raced across Australia. So we look forward to them getting back over there. Engineers Without Borders needs to get going again. And so we're excited about all of these opportunities. You as a student will be introduced to these groups. The older students want to meet you. They want to recruit you. They want to give you pizza, right? They want you to sign up. And so you're going to hear a lot about these groups. And again, like I said earlier, no one can do everything, but you'll probably test out a few of these and then get much more involved in some of them that capture your attention. And of course, as you have time for them. We have special initiatives for women in science and engineering. Sam Franco's on this call, and this is part of her portfolio. So I will try to get it right. But we have Women in Science and Engineering, which is kind of a number of initiatives. They work with SWE, the Society of Women Engineers. There are professional opportunities. A couple of years ago, they organized a professional site visit to Ireland. So they take on things like that. They meet with professionals, and of course, they support each other in their studies. And fun fact, these initiatives are open to everybody. And so if you want to get involved, you can. We have a diversity, equity, and inclusion initiative within our college, and we have staffing for that, and we're very excited about that. We have things like the STEM Diversity House, which is a living and learning community. You see the BIPOC Voices in STEM flyer there. These are a series of speaking events for alumni who want to talk to you about their experiences in their studies and their careers. A lot of these were done virtually, which is actually great because some of these young alumni live in San Francisco, they live in Seattle. Of course, a lot of them live in the Twin Cities also, but we could do these special events with them and they don't have to fly back to the Twin Cities. So moving forward, some of these will be in person if the alumni are in the area or could get here. And then, but we'll still continue to do them virtually because we want to hear from people at Netflix. We want to hear from people at Tesla. And so we will continue to do that. And I think we learned a lot of lessons during the pandemic that we're going to keep, right? We developed great online virtual advising and career center staff access. We developed internships that are virtual. So I think we're going to keep a lot of the cool things that we developed during the pandemic, but also get back to campus. We want all of our students to be leaders, but you define what that means for you. And that's why there's different ways to do this. We know employers are looking for leadership backgrounds, and we want to help you on your path. Some students want to do that in the classroom, and that's something they look for. So you can see the leadership course designator on the slide. And so you can take leadership courses from the university, and some students work towards a leadership minor. And then there are other experiences that are like a classroom, but it's not a full semester. So Leadership is a program where we do an intense, I think it's 6 days of leadership programming with the students. We get off site, you live together, you study together, but you're not doing a full semester. Some of our students are going to give back to the next generation of STEM students that are still in school, K through 12, right? So we have students who are running projects that are aimed at getting the next group of students into CSE or inspire them in some other form of STEM education. Learning abroad, well, this is what my team focuses on. It's obviously not been an easy year and a half. We, as a college, we have a variety of ways for students to go abroad. Obviously, there's been a pause on that. Travel is now allowed for students again, and we have students who are planning to go abroad for fall semester, studying. One student is looking at Norway. We have another student looking at the United Kingdom. So when students do a semester abroad, they normally go to a science and engineering university or a comprehensive university during the semester, and then they would transfer those credits back into their degree in the College of Science and Engineering. That takes a lot of planning, and that's why we have staff for that. So we're looking at the coursework that a student might do abroad and how it will fit back into their four-year degree. Then outside of that, we have groups of students going abroad, usually during January, spring break, or the first part of summer, which is called May session. And that's where they go with a faculty member or two, and they earn credit back towards their degree by doing those seminars. And then we have students who do summers abroad, which might be an internship, but also we're developing a summer abroad with our colleagues in the Big Ten. This is where first year students finish their first year and then meet up with other Big Ten students in Dublin, and the students fulfill Physics 2, and they take a historical class that is approved for the Historical Perspectives LibEd and Global Perspectives LibEd. So this is a really cool initiative. If you're interested at all, talk to your advisor, because obviously this might influence when you fulfill Physics 2. But beyond that, don't worry about it too much. We'll have more information during fall semester. No one needs to make any decisions right now. I just want to make you aware of this. And of course, we didn't go in 2021. And so we want to go in 2022. And so we will have a lot more information for interested first year students, okay? Also, I'll take a pause, again, mention if you have questions, put them in the Q&A or the chat. Totally open to being interrupted. So you can slow me down and ask a question if you want. We want all of our students to find a mentor. It's a great way to develop your professional self, your professional identity. Again, there are, just like a lot of things in life, there are sort of structured ways to do this. So you can see the link where students can request a peer mentor. So this would be a student in a major, and then an incoming student would want to be matched up with a student in a certain major. As you progress in your life, then there's additional mentorship opportunities where you might have a mentor in industry and that you're targeting. But a lot of students, I would say, have informal mentors. They meet a faculty member that they really connect with in a class, or maybe a guest lecture or a seminar, something like that. They might learn about that faculty member's lab and work their way into that lab. We have students who work in our offices because they're into what we're doing, and I guess they want money. But so we have students in our career center and collegiate life that work with us. And so it's a great way to kind of start that process of determining kind of what you're going to be like and what major you're going to have and what targets you have for your employment.
Hey, Adam, before we move too far forward, we did have a question about that Dublin experience.
Sure.
The question is this opportunity the summer at Dublin highly competitive within CSE?
I don't know yet. And so, because we didn't go this year. So the Big Ten schools that are going to participate, so like Minnesota, Madison, Michigan, Ohio State University, we will find out how many spots we get. It's probably going to be about 15 spots to start out with per university. And so if we have about that number who want to go, then no, we wouldn't see it as competitive. So if demand outweighs the spots we're given, then we'll have to make a review process for the applicants. But since we didn't go, I don't know how this year would have played out. We had students who really wanted to go, and then we didn't go. Let me know if you need more information on that, but I'll move on for now. But we are a research university, so thanks for joining us, right? We need your energy, your ideas, your ability to stay up all night getting things done. And so faculty rely on student interest. Graduate programs rely on student interest. So we want to get you involved in research. Maybe again, not the first thing you do, but your first year, you should be learning about how this works. And so one way would be to look at the UROP program, which is Undergraduate Research Opportunities. On their website, they post previously approved UROPs. So I think a good way to start is reading some of those. Also start researching faculty labs. Faculty have sort of a teaching side of their life, and they normally then have a departmental, contact information page and everything. But often they have a totally separate research life with its own web pages, descriptions, staffing. And so if you're interested in a field, like let's say organic polymers, don't necessarily look at the coursework for that, but look for research labs related to that and start to see, oh, have they hired undergraduate students before? Do they have a staffing list? What's going on here? Has that faculty member hosted UROPs before? And again, because it takes a little work, there's a student research webpage where the link is available. and there's tips on how to get involved and get started. But there's a lot of exciting things going on, and we want your help. I mentioned maybe working in a lab, and there are students that certainly do that. So you're paid by the hour. Again, we have students who work in our offices. We have students who work in the Office of Admissions, right? You all took tours, I hope, or came to campus at some point. And, there are students paid to help, show off the university. As we really restart a fully in-person campus, we're going to have a lot of jobs, I think, right? So if you like the outdoors, you might be the person mowing the lawn. Or you might work at the student newspaper, or you might work in the theater department helping with selling tickets. And so jobs are posted on the website. Of course, one great thing about working through the university is your supervisor knows that you're a student first. And so we respect things like midterms, final exams, the need to study. And so if you choose to work off campus, you can make your own time management plan also. But I think if you're on campus, you don't have to have a car, you can get to your job easily, and you can gain experience and have fun, I hope. Hands-on learning is really a priority for the college. And we have seen this over the last few years, new facilities opening up, new donations coming in, new software available, new machinery available. And we want to get students into these areas. And so there are hands-on design spaces in a couple of parts of the college, and you don't need to be in a class to get in there. And so we have students doing personal projects. We have students doing work for a student group they joined, and we do have students doing classes in there. And so we know employers want students to have this experience regardless of your major. And so no matter what major you pick, we also want you getting into these hands-on learning environments. And we have some information about a class later in the presentation that can help with that. 3D print something, right? Okay, I was talking a lot, so let's take a pause. We'd like to hear what you're interested in, if you are brave enough to share in the chat. What types of student engagement caught your attention? Is there anything else you might want more information about? What skills interest you, and what do you want to work on as a student? Whether it's public speaking or time management or being told no. It takes practice to be told no sometimes. So you ask that donor for money, or you ask for space, and it takes practice. I'll give you a minute.
Yeah, feel free to throw that in the chat. And I'm also launching a poll regarding what caught your interest as well. So feel free to respond to that poll.
Yes, thanks for the reminder. Please do our poll.
While we wait for the results to come in, I think all three of us are U of M alum. What were you all involved in? I know I worked several different student jobs. I actually worked for 2 years at the Wiseman Art Museum. I worked in the gift shop as a gift shop worker.
I got really involved in the student radio station, Radio K 770 on your AM dial, but also available on streaming. And I didn't even really mean to. I was going to take my first year off and not work, but I started volunteering there. The next thing I knew, I was being paid to DJ at 6 o'clock on Sunday mornings, which no one else wanted to do. But I also had a lot of student jobs. I was a art preservationist for children's literature in a special library collection that the university is famous for called the Curlin Collection. So the estates of children's artists would send in mock-ups that had been done, or things that had not been used or had been done once and then not put in the book, for example. And so I processed original artwork. And that's another thing. When you're a student, you can be given responsibility for things that you probably wouldn't be in the real world, and get good experience.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I was involved in a lot of different things. So I also worked on campus. I worked for athletics, which is a great gig if you can get that, because then you can get into games for free and maybe watch some sporting events that you never thought you would. And then I also was involved in 2 different research labs. I was a psychology student, so research was definitely, if you want to get involved in research, there's lots of opportunities to do so. And then I was in an honor society and then also the marching band. So there's definitely, I can't say enough, especially on a large campus like the University of Minnesota, getting involved in student groups or some kind of activity to meet friends and get acquainted is great, because sometimes in classes you don't get the opportunity to do so as much.
Yeah. Thanks. And I think we've got a lot of results in, so I'm going to end the polling, and then I think I can share the results actually. So top things that we're seeing for what types of engagement sound most interesting. 73% of you said student organizations, undergraduate research, for both of those actually. Lots of interest in student jobs on campus, hands-on learning, and then we've got a lot of interest in all these different areas, which is great. And then areas that we're seeing for skills, communication skills, which I think is super important, especially in STEM. We're definitely going to be talking about the importance of communications, networking with classmates or professionals. A lot of our extracurriculars or even our programming offer, I know Adam talked about some panels, opportunities to meet professionals, and Sam's going to be talking about how to meet professionals through career resources as well. Making new friends, absolutely. I love that that's such a high result, because I think especially coming out of a pandemic, I feel like it'll be really exciting to be able to see people and spend time together in person or virtually still. I know as someone who has family out of state, Zoom has been great since we haven't been able to visit them. And then at the same time, I know lots of our student organizations are really looking forward to hosting things on campus, or whether it's pizza or ice cream or socials. So that's also, and have fun. Yes. That's also really important. I think it's great to be able to have fun. Remember that college can be really serious. Classes can be difficult and challenging, but remember to take some time to like balance that as well and have fun. So, and we're all talking about like technical or teamwork skills too. So you're going to get a lot of opportunities to do all of these things. And I saw someone raise their hand. If you do have a question, feel free to drop that question in the chat or in the Q&A feature, and I can answer that for you.
Great. Now we're going to go to the Career Center portion of this presentation. So the opportunities that we just talked about outside of the classroom can help shape and influence your decisions on your major, your internships, or career paths that you choose. It can be difficult to discuss the value and the impact of some of those experiences, especially if you're part of like a student group that's unrelated to your major, or you're in a campus job that you really enjoy, but it's not engineering. That's where the CSE Career Center can come into play and help you articulate those experiences to an employer. A big misconception of the Career Center is that it's only for upper level students that are ready to start job searching. I think I thought that as a student, that Career Center is something that the seniors use to find a job. That's just not true. There's lots of different ways that a first and second year student can use our services. So today we talked about so many different opportunities. Sometimes it can be overwhelming to a student. So we can help you be strategic on student engagement and think about the different kind of opportunities available and what makes sense to you to help build the skills that you're looking to gain. We can also help with major exploration. So maybe you're coming into college and you're not quite sure what you want to major in. We can explore your options through individual counseling appointments. We have a couple different assessments we can use. There's other career resources online, and we have some print resources as well. There's also going to be a major exploration events through CSE 1001 that we're going to talk about here in a little bit. So definitely through that course, we'll be going over a lot of different resources that you can use to explore. There's also, we offer resume assistance. So if you need to help create a new resume or just add new experiences to your resume, we can help with that. And then also Handshake and Career Fair and employer events. We'll be covering those in the next few slides. So as you progress through your 4 years within the College of Science and Engineering, there are additional topics that you might want to talk to a career counselor about. So one might be career exploration. So once you decide on your major, you might want to look through different career paths that you could go on with that major. We have guides that can help you with that. We also have what can I do with a major in resources online, and we also have books in our career center. There's also events that we do, such as career exploration panels with alumni in industry, so they talk about the different paths that they've taken and talk you through what a day-to-day might look like in their profession. We also do major exploration events with faculty and upper level students, so they can talk more about what they've been studying in their classes and the projects that they worked on. We can also help with job and internship search preparation, so resumes, cover letters, interviewing. We'll go over how to prepare for an interview. We can go through a practice interview with you. We also go through offer negotiation and what that looks like and what a job offer might entail. We also help with career fair preparation. So if you're wondering, what does a career fair typically look like? What do I talk to employers about? You can come to us with that. Graduate school preparation. If you're thinking graduate schools for you, we can help with personal statements. We can talk about the application process, maybe helping you to identify what schools might be a good fit for you. We do individual counseling appointments, so 30 minutes. We also offer drop-in counseling for quick 10-minute, those are about 10 minutes long, for quick questions. And we do that Monday through Friday from 2 to 4 p.m. So Handshake is our job and internship database. It's like an Indeed.com, but just for University of Minnesota students. Other universities use Handshake as well, but within the systems, employers will choose which university is supposed to. And so there's those that just recruit at the University of Minnesota or have jobs that are just on our board. So you can use the system to apply for jobs, internships, co-ops. Last year, there was over 60,000 positions posted to the system, and over half were College of Science and Engineering students related. So that goes to show you that our students are in high demand. You can also use the platform to register for a career fair or another career event that's on there. You can also use it to research and find companies of interest. So each company has a profile within Handshake that tells you more about that company and gives you contacts and things like that. Students will receive a resume when they sign up for an account. It'll prompt them to upload their documents so they receive that resume review. So as of today, once you've registered for classes, you can use Handshake. So I encourage you to do that as soon as you can. So each year we host 2 large career fair events just for College of Science and Engineering students, one in the fall and one in the spring. These events usually can attract up to 275 companies from all over the United States. Companies recruit for full-time internships and co-op positions. We have preparation events for students the week before the career fair. We do workshops all week long, a resume marathon event where we bring employers to review resumes, and then also practice interview days where we bring employers from different industries to give students mock interviews. We encourage that first-year students participate in the career fair just to learn from different employers and kind of explore their different opportunities that are out there. Usually as a first-year student, there's not a ton of internships available. And the reason for that is because a lot of times they want you to take engineering coursework before you have those internships. So usually sophomores and juniors, that's a great time to be exploring for internship opportunities, but we still want you as first-year students to engage with the event, to come and explore it. And there are a few employers that might be looking for first-year students. So the career fair this year will be virtual. We're hoping to have a spring event that's in person, but these are very large events. Usually we see around 3,000 people. So in order to make sure that everyone's comfortable with the event, we'll be doing that hopefully this spring, and more information will be available to students as the event comes closer, and we'll be giving out lots of information this fall. So you can see in this picture here, this is from a site visit to Medtronic that we did with the National Society of Black Engineers. So we want students to connect with employers as much as possible, even as first-year students. Talking to employers is a great way to explore majors and the different careers that are out there. So we do lots of different things to make that happen. We bring in employers for information sessions, workshops, career panels. where we have different career topics such as technical interviewing workshops, offer negotiation techniques, how to succeed in your internship, lots of different things that we'll bring in employers for. Also those events where we do resume reviews and practice interviews that I talked about. We also do on-campus recruiting. So we have recruiting tables where employers will set up and just meet students in between classes. We also do interviews on campus. A couple of years ago, we had over 100 different companies come to campus to do first round interviews. There's over 2,000 individual interviews that year. So now a lot of those, since the pandemic hit, have been virtual, but they're starting to become in person again. So either way, it's good that students don't need a car to go travel to interview for these internships. So we have companies from all over, so some that are on the West Coast or Chicago. And so having virtual interviews or this on-campus option is great for students because then they don't need to be traveling to do interviews. We also do site visits to local companies, so like Seagate, Polaris, Target, the photo right there at Medtronic. We've gone to Boston Scientific, Abbott. So lots of different, just so students can meet different employers and different engineers from those companies and learn what they each do. Some of those companies hire a variety of different majors, so it's good for students to see that and to get to talk with what the differences are between the type of positions. We also go to regional site visits. So we've gone to Milwaukee, Madison, Chicago. Right before the pandemic, we were planning to go to Seattle. So we try to get out there for students to see different places that they might get hired at and have a chance to explore those opportunities. We'll also do webinars, virtual panels, and workshops moving forward as well, so students can get those experiences. So every year we also do a survey to all graduating seniors and ask them about their post-graduation plans. According to last year's surveys, the class of 2020, 91% of graduating seniors found employment or were accepted into graduate school within 6 months of graduation. So I will mention that this number is usually higher. We usually have over 95%. But with the softening of the job market due to COVID-19 and just employers not knowing where their budgets were going to stand or what was happening, this number was dropped a little bit. But even with the pandemic, we're finding that engineers are still in very high demand. We're quite happy with the 91% outcome. So with that number, about 75% grads went directly into industry, 23% went to graduate school, and 2% were volunteering or in the military. For the class of 2020, the average starting salary was $71,300. If you're interested to dig a little bit more into those, Sam put the link in the chat so you can look at more of our outcomes data. And then we also asked graduating seniors what they participated in while they were a CSE student. So again, this is from our class of 2020, and you can see that many students participate in student groups. And another very popular one is an internship experience. Most employers expect at least one related experience before the student graduates. A lot of times people ask what's the difference between a co-op and an internship. They're both paid experiences. They're both full-time opportunities. Internships tend to be shorter, usually through the summer, May through August, where co-ops tend to be longer, 2 to 3 semesters. So for example, the co-op might start in the spring semester and go into the summer, or it might be taken one spring and then again the next spring. So usually it's a couple semesters. It might delay graduation because it's during the school year and often full time. However, that experience is usually great for a resume builder because you get experience with a lot of different types of topics. You were employed for a longer period of time. So it can be a good reason to delay graduation if you decide to go that route. The average internship pay was $19.86 per hour last year, and the average co-op pay was $20 an hour. If co-op is something you're interested in, you have to wait till you're a sophomore to participate in that program, but it's something you would talk about with your academic advisor to make sure that you're able to do that. So thinking ahead, we just want to take a couple minutes for you to reflect on your college experience. Some of these questions, if you know them, please share in the chat. if you know what kind of impact you hope to make or what kind of problems you want to solve in the future or what interests you might have. I know these can be hard, so definitely these will be things that we'll be talking about in CSE 1001 and moving forward, and you have a while to figure them out if you do not know yet. But if anyone can share, that would be great.
I think Anna mentioned earlier that probably when you come to campus, you might, like all the areas of engagement that we've talked about, you might be in areas that we haven't even thought of, or pursuing careers that we've never even heard of by the time you graduate. Trust me, I myself was a bio student. I graduated with a biology degree and thought I wanted, came into college thinking I wanted to go into counseling or even go into research. And by the end of it, I was like, I want to work with college students, and totally changed my mind. And that's what I'm doing now. So I think it's okay. We talk about, and we'll talk a lot about this in CSE 1001 too. The class you'll be taking, talking about areas of exploration, major exploration, career, like what does a future career look like? And sometimes it's not a specific career, but what kinds of things would you like to accomplish in your career? Or what are your, what are areas of your career that are most valuable to you as well? So I think there are things that we'll explore, or at least try and help you explore.
And don't forget about graphene. So get involved in graphene. It's the future.
Yeah.
Okay, so these are a few suggestions of things to complete before classes start in the fall. None of these are required, but things that we recommend to assist with your transition to the university. So as we talked about, making that handshake account, since you have access now, you can explore different things that are on there, the events that are posted, and start looking through internship if you're interested. You can consider your professional attire for future job interviews and career fairs. So even though the career fair is going to be virtual, having professional attire at the university is a good idea. There always seems to be events that come up that you didn't realize that you might need professional clothing for. So we have a Pinterest page if you want to look at different recommendations, but also just keep that in mind as something that you might want to bring with you. And then identify 2 to 3 student groups that you might want to learn about. So there's going to be a student organization fair on the September 2nd. So looking at the list beforehand and maybe identifying a couple that you want to talk to would be a good idea. And then signing up for that CSE Ambassador Mentor Program is something that we highly recommend.
Yeah, those are all good tips. Like I'm not wearing shoes right now, but in the future, I'll have to wear shoes again. So I'll have to go look for some good shoes. I've got some good news for everybody. You don't have to remember anything we talked about today. I know it's the middle of summer, at least here in the Midwest in the United States. We'll see how good your retention is by the time school starts, but you don't have to remember all of this because we're going to start this conversation all over again in the class we call CSE 1001. All of us on this web call, we all teach this class. We'll be doing a section each. I'll be doing 2 in the fall. It is required, so hopefully you signed up. And we'll take all these topics on again, but just give more time to it. So career exploration, resume building, major exploration. What is the difference between computer science and engineering and computer engineering? Totally different degrees. We'll talk about it. You'll learn about it as you make your choices in college. That's required in the fall, and you know about that. You can continue that first year experience by choosing to take CSE 1012 if you would want. So that is a project-based, hands-on class, faculty, volunteer to teach sections, get into these spaces, get into these maker spaces, work with other students, work with 3D printing, work with microcontrollers, some programming and sensors, and come up with a new idea and have some fun doing it. And then we show those off at the end of the semester. So that's optional. Welcome week will kind of officially end our summer, right? And so there's a lot going on. There are students and staff to talk you through everything that's happening. A big day for us would be Thursday, the 2nd, and that is our CSE College Day. But you have a lot of activities here in addition to College Day. And you will meet other students, you'll meet the older students. You see here this photo of the student groups in our college recruiting the freshmen, right? And so they'll set up an information fair for the student groups during College Day. It is required, okay? So remember to come join us. You're gonna get a new CSE shirt, so please wear it on College Day. We always have about, I don't know, 5% of students who are like, what? So wear your cool shirt. You're gonna meet CSE 1001 for the first time. So that is your first class meeting during College Day, and you'll meet the other students, your instructor, and your teaching assistant, who is a great resource also, because all of our teaching assistants are students in the college. You'll learn about the 3D printing option and the research options through some experiential learning talks. We'll have a Q&A panel with industry, and then I mentioned that fair. So it's a lot of activity. Again, not all of it will sink in that first time, but that's why we have the whole semester to talk. Our normal home is called Lind Hall. Lind Hall is going to be renovated for the second time. And so they're working on the second and third floors of the building. So we all have to move out of our current offices. So if you see materials or handouts or websites that mention Lind Hall, we will all be moving to 10 Church Street. And that will be our new home. It is across the street from the 17th Avenue Residence Hall. So that's a good landmark for a lot of students. And we will all have temporary offices over there, and we'll offer the same services that we've been offering, both in person and then some virtually, out of our new temporary home in 10 Church Street. Come see us. I know we threw a lot at you today, and I appreciate your patience and staying with us on the meeting. Do you have questions that we have a few minutes for as we wrap up the meeting? Again, you can put any questions in the chat or the actual Q&A. Maybe we nailed it. Did we answer everything? Oh, something's popping up in the Q&A.
Yeah. Will this presentation recording be available somewhere after today?
It's my understanding, so we were asked to record this one, and so it's my understanding that it will be made available, but I don't totally know exactly how that's going to work. But that's my understanding. And my hope would be that it would be sent as a follow-up. But I'm not sure where they're going to post it.
Yeah. And then our other question, if we choose to live in a dorm or so our residence halls, when do we move in or when is it recommended? So that's a great question. So when you get your housing assignment, sorry, I am freezing. So I'm going to turn my video off. Let me turn that off. So when you get your housing assignment, you actually will have a move-in day and time assigned to you. So it will give you a specific time that you can come to campus to move in, recommendations on where you'll need to bring your car if that's what you're bringing all your stuff in, if you're going to be driving to campus to drop off your stuff for your residence hall. And then they'll have recommendations on where to park. So if a parent or a guardian is bringing you, or if a friend is bringing you, they'll have you pretty much they'll have you unload all your stuff and then move your car to a parking garage, and then you'll get to move all your stuff in. But you will get, if you apply for housing, you will get a housing assignment as well as the day and time that you get to come to campus. But it will be prior to welcome week, which is important to know.
Yes, we want you here in time to do all of those activities that we mentioned. So, which is nice too, because you get to move in a little early. Other questions for today? I'm just glancing at the Q&A and the chat. Looks like no more. Again, thank you all for being here with us. We look forward to seeing you in person at the University of Minnesota, back on campus, okay? Stay well, have a good summer.